Hey everybody, welcome to today's update on Daily IoT. Today I want to talk a little bit about my thought process around the hardware. So I've been working a lot on setting up the software side of things, not software, the firmware side of things for the Particle Photon. And I've never done this before, right? I'm trying to make a product, and so I'm starting to think. I'm thinking about a lot of things. First of all, there's a lot of things going through my head that have to come together before I can actually say, hey, does somebody want to pay me money for this thing? But the one that I've been thinking a lot about lately is the hardware. And so I'm trying to decide what I need to do for an MVP, and not even an MVP, but a first version. So I have a minimum viable product sitting on my desk over here. I'm now 3.5 seasons of updates on a single charge of the battery, and it's working just great. It's not the prettiest thing because I hacked out the puck with a chisel, but the concept is sound and it's working, and I'm getting Flurry's updated stats. As of filming, he has a 2.15 goals against average, a 93% save percentage, and he has won 21 games this year. So this thing is working. It's on my desk, and if it was packaged well, it's something that I think people would be interested in. But I'm trying to think of, what do I need to do with the hardware? I've stuffed a bunch of hardware in there, but when it comes down to it, the project is not that complicated. It is the GD e-paper display, a particle photon, a LiPo battery, and that's it for now. I would like it to have a charging circuit, a LiPo charging circuit, so people can charge it by plugging it into USB. And so there's not really much more to it than that. But what I've been thinking about is, do I actually try and just jam these buy this from Waveshare and get a headerless photon? But then if I want a LiPo charging circuit, I'm going to need to have a custom PCB, printed circuit board, for those that don't know what that stands for. I'm going to need a custom printed circuit board to mount all of that stuff to anyway, versus do I just go full scale custom printed circuit board for everything? And so do I take sort of the design that Waveshare has or others? This is the way you hook up these GDEP screens is documented in the data sheet, so it's not like you even have to design that. So there's that, and then do I do something like just use the P1 module? I don't need the full photon. You can see from the back here, I'm only hooking up a few pins. I don't even need the rest of these pins on here, or some of the other stuff that's attached. I don't need this external antenna thing. And so there's a bunch of stuff on the photon that I don't need, and I could reduce my cost per unit maybe if I switch to just using the P1 module. But then there's more design that goes in up front to a full-blown custom printed circuit board that I lose all of I know the photon works, it's working on my desk. If I come up with my own P1 based solution, I'm gonna have to make sure that all works. And so I'm just trying to decide where I want to go with this, what the cost per unit's going to be, what I want to sell it for, and just been thinking a lot about how to approach that. I'm not sure. And the flip side of that is, I have done some printed circuit board design, but I am not a printed circuit board expert. And I think, given the time frame that I want to release this in, I'm going to have to pay for that. I'm going to have to pay for somebody else to design the board for me, because I want to make sure it is done correct, that it doesn't have any. There's lots of things with PCB design about keep out areas, and especially when you're dealing with Wi-Fi and you've got antennas, there's certain things that you can screw up. You get ground planes in certain areas. I was reading in the forums that people have designed boards that screw up the Wi-Fi range, and all those things that you don't know what you don't know. And I recognize that I don't know a lot in that realm. And so I'm just trying to balance, how much of money do I spend to save time, and what approach do I take with the hardware? Like, do I just, for now, cobble together the parts that I have into a case that goes into a puck, or do I just bite the bullet and have it professionally designed? And so I found sort of a compromise. I've ran across, he shows up in my Twitter feed all the time. It's John from Predictable Designs, and they do what's called a predictable hardware report, where I provide them information about the project and what I'm doing, and then they will come up with a list of, here, components that you should think about using. Here's what the cost is in volume, not in volume. And it tries to, their marketing is they're trying to eliminate as many variables as possible in getting you started with your product and getting your product going. And so I'm going to invest in that as a first step of what do you think our cost per unit is going to be with PCB and case and all this other stuff. And that will help me better understand how much money I would need to spend to save time. And it's just about choices, I think, money and time. Like, that's what I'm trading at this point. And so that's just wanted to share some thoughts about where I'm at on that. Like I said, I've been focusing a lot on working on the firmware and getting that all set up. But in the back of my mind that I haven't talked a lot about, which is why I'm sharing it today, is I've got to eventually have the hardware in a finished, polished state that I can put inside of a puck and deliver it to customers. And so that is where I'm going. This is not a paid endorsement for Predictable Design. I found these guys on the internet, talked to John through email a couple times, seems like a very sharp and nice guy. And so I will definitely keep everybody updated on these episodes of how that's going, how I feel like the value exchange was for that, and I will keep you posted on that. Question of the day: if you've ever had PCB design done, who have you used for that? I would be very interested to know. If you have any recommendations, stick them down in the comments below. I would love to have some contacts that I could reach out to and just kind of feel the waters on what that might look like for my project. So I appreciate everybody watching. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to seeing everybody back here on Monday on Daily IoT, the show where together we're learning how to make the Internet of Things one day at a time.